Steam rose from the industrial dishwasher as I loaded another rack of plates, my hands pruned from hours in hot water. In the main kitchen of Le Jardin, Chicago's most ambitious French restaurant, Chef Marcus Williams was having another meltdown. "This is garbage," he roared, throwing a perfectly good risotto into the trash. "Do it again. And someone get me a clean soda pan." That would be my cue. I'm Jennifer Chen, graduate of Le Cordon Bleu Paris, former sous chef at a 3-star Michelin restaurant in Tokyo, and current dishwasher at Le Jardin. The last part wasn't exactly my career plan, but sometimes life takes unexpected turns. I grabbed a clean pan and hurried to Chef Marcus's station, keeping my eyes down like he preferred. He snatched it without acknowledgment, already screaming at another line cook about overcooked scallops. 2 years ago, I thought moving back to Chicago to help with my parents' medical bills would be temporary. I applied to every high-end restaurant in the city, including Le Jardin, but the prestigious Chicago culinary scene turned out to be more of an old boys club than I expected. "We'll keep your resume on file," they'd say, eyes sliding over my awards and recommendations. Some were more direct. "Our clientele expects a certain image in the kitchen." Le Jardin was my last interview. Chef Marcus took one look at my credentials and laughed. "Le Cordon Bleu, Tokyo? Sure, sweetheart. Look, we need a dishwasher. Take it or leave it." I took it, not just because I needed the money, but because I saw something in Le Jardin's kitchen that others missed: potential. Behind Marcus's flashy but inconsistent cuisine was a restaurant that could be truly great, and I could learn a lot by watching, even from the dishwashing station. So I became invisible, just another pair of hands in a busy kitchen, watching, learning, noting every mistake and missed opportunity. I saw how Marcus cut corners, how he masked mediocre technique with excessive garnishes and fancy plating. But I also saw the quality of ingredients the restaurant brought in, the skilled line cooks held back by poor leadership, the wine cellar that could rival any in Europe. All the pieces of greatness were there, just waiting for the right moment. "Hey, dish girl." Marcus's voice cut through my thoughts. "These plates aren't clean enough. Do them again." I examined the supposedly dirty plates. They were spotless, of course. Marcus just needed someone to yell at after the food critic from the Tribune gave him a less than stellar review last week. "Yes, chef," I murmured, taking the plates back. As I walked away, I heard him boasting to his sous chef. "Michelin's sending an inspector this month. When we get that star, I'm going to be the most famous chef in Chicago." What Marcus didn't know was that the Michelin inspector had already been to Le Jardin twice. I recognized her immediately, Sophie Dubois, legendary for her palate and attention to detail. She'd been unimpressed both times, picking at Marcus's overwrought dishes with barely concealed disappointment. I knew because I'd served under her at L'Etoile in Paris. Though she wouldn't recognize me now, hair tied back and hands raw from dishwater. Back then, she called my cooking transcendent. Now I watched her push away Marcus's signature dishes, and my hands itched to show her what Le Jardin's kitchen could really produce. The opportunity came sooner than I expected, and in the worst possible way. It was Saturday night, our busiest service. The dining room was full, including 3 food critics and several of Chicago's most influential restaurateurs. Marcus was in rare form, terrorizing the kitchen staff more than usual. "This is our moment," he kept shouting. "Everything has to be perfect." That's when I noticed something wrong with his movements. His face was flushed, his coordination slightly off. I recognized the signs. He was running a fever, probably the flu that had been going through the kitchen staff. "Chef," I said quietly, approaching his station. "Maybe you should take a break." He whirled on me, eyes glassy. "Shut up and get back to your dishes where you belong." Then it happened. In the middle of plating a foie gras appetizer, Marcus's eyes rolled back, and he collapsed. The entire kitchen froze. James, the sous chef, rushed to help him. "Chef, someone call an ambulance." As chaos erupted, I stayed by my dishwashing station, watching orders pile up, hearing the growing murmur of discontent from the dining room. The kitchen staff looked lost without Marcus's constant direction. Then I heard a familiar voice from the dining room. Sophie Dubois speaking to the maitre d'. "Perhaps we should leave." That's when James made his fatal mistake. "Let the dish girl handle it," he sneered, trying to manage the chaos. "She can't make things worse than they already are." 10 pairs of eyes turned to me. James meant it as an insult, but he'd just given me exactly what I'd been waiting 2 years for: permission to cook. I dried my hands, calmly removed my dishwashing apron, and walked to the pass. The kitchen staff stared as I tied on a clean chef's apron. "Listen up," I said, my voice carrying the authority of years running high-pressure kitchens. "Here's what we're going to do." But none of them could have predicted what happened next. "First, clear these plates," I commanded, pointing to Marcus's last attempts. "We're starting fresh. Carlos, how many orders are in queue?" 38 covers, varying courses," he replied, still looking stunned. "Perfect. James, after you call that ambulance, I need you to trust me for the next 3 hours. Can you do that?" He nodded dumbly, phone already in hand. I surveyed the kitchen, some of the best equipment in Chicago, now in my hands. "Here's our new menu for tonight. We're simplifying, focusing on perfect execution. Pull all of Marcus's fusion experiments. We're going classic French with seasonal Illinois ingredients." The staff stared as I rapidly reorganized the line, creating a more efficient workflow. My mind was already racing through the possibilities, remembering the fresh ingredients I'd seen delivered that morning. But Chef Marcus's signature dishes, someone protested, are overwrought and poorly executed. I finished. "Tonight, we're showing Chicago what this kitchen can really do." I moved to the pass, the command center of any serious kitchen. "Carlos, kill the music. Everyone listen up." The kitchen fell silent. "First seating, modify as follows. The lamb? We're doing it properly, herb-crusted with local morels and a proper demi-glace. The scallops? Simplify. Perfect sear, brown butter, local asparagus. Foie gras appetizer. Traditional preparation, brioche from this morning's bake, with our cherry preserves." I rattled off modifications for each dish, stripping away Marcus's unnecessary flourishes, focusing on technique and flavor. The staff's eyes widened as they recognized classical French preparations they'd learned in culinary school, but never got to use under Marcus's innovative leadership. "But who are you?" James finally asked. "Someone who knows what she's doing," I replied, already moving to help plate the first appetizers. Questions later. Now we cook. The kitchen came alive under my direction. No screaming, no chaos. Just the quiet intensity of professionals who finally had clear guidance. I moved from station to station, adjusting techniques, correcting seasoning, teaching as we worked. Watch the heat on that reduction. There, you see how the sauce coats the back of the spoon. That's what we want. Perfect sear on that fish. Now finish it with the brown butter. Don't rush the soufflés. They'll tell us when they're ready. An hour in, the first comments started coming back from the dining room. Clean plates, compliments to the chef, orders for second desserts. Then the maitre d' rushed in, looking panicked. "The Michelin inspector, she's asking to speak with the chef." I wiped my hands. "Send her my compliments, but tell her the kitchen is rather busy at the moment. Invite her to stay for dessert. We're doing a proper soufflé hot chocolate." "But?" "Trust me." I turned back to the kitchen. "Right, next seating. I want every plate leaving this kitchen to be better than the last. Show me what you've got." The staff responded with a focus I'd never seen from them. They were cooking with passion again, remembering why they'd chosen this demanding profession. 3 hours later, the last dessert left the kitchen. The dining room was still full. No one had wanted to leave. I finally stepped out to survey my work. Sophie Dubois was waiting. "I wondered when I'd see you again, Jennifer," she said with a slight smile. "Though I didn't expect to find you here, or like this." The staff's jaws dropped. James actually gasped. "You two know each other," he stammered. "Jennifer Chen was one of my most promising young chefs at L'Etoile," Sophie replied. "Until she disappeared 2 years ago. Now I understand why." She turned to me. "Your cooking has matured. More confident, more focused. You found your voice." I had time to think about food while washing dishes. I said quietly, "Well, your thinking paid off. This was the best meal I've had in Chicago. Perhaps in the last decade." She pulled out her notebook. "I believe Michelin will be very interested in what's happening at Le Jardin. Assuming, of course, there are some changes in leadership." The next morning, Le Jardin's owner called an emergency meeting. Marcus was there, still looking pale, along with the entire kitchen staff and several investors. "So," the owner began, Would someone like to explain what happened last night? Sophie Dubois had sent a formal letter, which he read aloud. The room fell silent at phrases like exceptional cuisine and worthy of serious consideration. Marcus exploded. This is ridiculous. She's a dishwasher. She can't just take over my kitchen. Your kitchen? The owner asked quietly. The kitchen that's never managed better than mediocre reviews under your leadership. The kitchen that was about to lose its chance at a Michelin star until last night? He turned to me. Ms. Chen, I've spent the morning reading your actual resume. Would you be interested in a rather significant promotion? The changes came swiftly after that. Marcus left to pursue other opportunities. Last I heard, he was doing cooking demonstrations at a kitchenware store. I took over as executive chef, with full control over menu and staff. The kitchen culture transformed. No more screaming, no more chaos. I instituted proper training programs focusing on technique and understanding. Many of the line cooks who'd worked under Marcus turned out to be excellent chefs when given the chance to learn and grow. 6 months later, Le Jardin received its first Michelin star. The review specifically praised our perfect execution of classical techniques with modern sensibility and our respect for local ingredients. James became an excellent sous chef once he got over his initial embarrassment. I can't believe you worked for Sophie Dubois, he said one day. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed the dishwasher? I asked, tasting his perfectly executed sauce. Sometimes you have to show people rather than tell them. The dishwashing station. I had it completely redesigned, better equipment, proper ergonomics, respect for the position. Every new cook in my kitchen starts there for a week, learning humility and the importance of every role in a professional kitchen. Le Jardin became known for more than just its food. We started an apprenticeship program, actively recruiting talented cooks who might be overlooked by other high-end restaurants. Gender, background, appearance, none of that matters in my kitchen. Only passion and willingness to learn. Last week, a young culinary school graduate came in looking for work. Great credentials, but no one would give her a chance. Something about not fitting the image they wanted. I hired her on the spot. Start at the dish station, I told her. Watch everything. Learn everything. Show me what you can do. She looked at me quizzingly. But I have a degree from. I smiled, remembering my own journey. Trust me. Sometimes the best way to rise in this industry is to start at the bottom. Just remember, every position in this kitchen is a position of respect. The restaurant industry is slowly changing, but it still has a long way to go. Old prejudices die hard. But every night, I walk through my kitchen, now one of the most diverse and respected in Chicago, and I see the future of culinary arts. A future where talent matters more than image, where passion counts more than pedigree, where even a dishwasher can rise to become a Michelin-starred chef. My old apron from the dish station hangs framed in my office, next to the Michelin star announcement and a photo of the whole kitchen team. Under it, there's a quote I share with every new hire. True excellence doesn't shout. It whispers through perfect execution, speaks through passionate dedication, and proves itself one plate at a time. Sometimes the best way to change a broken system isn't to break it from the outside, but to transform it from within, even if that means starting at the dishwashing station. After all, every great meal begins with a clean plate.